feel the fire of what you bring. There's something to be said about the superpower that lives on the inside of all of us, right? We have our own innate gifts that we bring to the table. When your gift is put on the table, it doesn't matter who else is in the room. All that matters is what do you do that can make your industry better?
Welcome to the Game of Her Own podcast, a free resource for women who work in the sports and entertainment industry. Each week, we get real and talk about the things that hold us back and how we can overcome them and keep climbing to the top. And the top is however you define it. We talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Consider this podcast your secret weapon. You will learn from the best in the business and be able to take immediate action with all the advice that you hear. I'm your host, Jahaan Blake, a leadership development coach and consultant. I've worked in sports for 20 years. 15 of those years were spent working for the Red Sox, Dodgers, and the Cubs. After 15 years of working in the front office, I took a leap of faith and I started my own business. Friends, as a Black woman in sports, I know that the industry can take a toll on your confidence and sometimes leave you feeling defeated. Join me each week so I can support you on your journey. I promise you, each week you will feel stronger and more confident than the week before. So let's get started with this week's episode. Since I started this podcast in May of 2020, I have met some incredible women who never cease to amaze me. Now, the roles are always unique, but sometimes I meet a woman whose work is so niche and so unique, I know I have to have them on the podcast immediately so they can share their journey with you. Now, it's not to say that the work my next guest, Sivonnia L DeBarros, is doing is unheard of. What we don't hear enough about is women like her who bravely march down their own path and create these successful businesses. Sivonnia refers to herself as the protector of athletes. She's a lawyer, first-generation lawyer, and a law business owner. Sivonnia has represented pro athletes from the NFL, MLS, NBA G League, pro table tennis sports. She has been featured on CBS, ABC, WGN, and Shoutout LA. She hosts a podcast, and she's a best-selling published author of What Are You Sporting About? Sivonnia is passionate about helping athletes, women, and first-generation business owners because she understands the peculiar struggle many face by needing more support and guidance to be successful. Now, after reading that bio, can you see why I was so drawn to interviewing Sivonnia? In this episode, we talk about what she did when she realized she was a leader, but not leading. That pivotal moment when she learned the value of self-advocacy, why she empowers everyone on her team, and how she sets expectations for them. All right, Game of Her Own listeners, let's do this. Sivonnia, welcome to the Game of Her Own podcast. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited about our conversation.
Me too. And I was so glad to get to meet you back at what was it, Black in Sports Professional Networking event.
Yep, that was so fun.
It was fun. And I always tell my clients, or honestly, anyone who will listen to me who wants advice, like, you just got to show up, even if you don't know a single person. And I didn't know a single person.
I didn't either.
Did you feel
out with a connect?
Uncomfortable?
No. I don't know. I don't think I felt uncomfortable. It's always kind of the unknown too when you go to different places or different events and you're literally there by your friend. You're not by yourself. You're not bringing a friend or anything. So it can sometimes be intimidating because you don't know who is going to be in the room. You know, ideally you would think you're going to be in the room with big shots anyway, because I mean, it's Black in sports, right?
Yeah.
But looking back on it, I don't think I was nervous or afraid about anything. I just try to show up in every space just being me. And I think that gives me comfort to know that anyone who connects with me, they're going to connect with me because I'm me, right? Yes. There's no facade that I'm putting on. It's just me, right? You take it or you leave it. If we vibe, we vibe. If we don't, no love lost. Wish you the best, sis.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But yeah, it was really, really cool though. I mean, I think all of you guys were such a great group of people.
Yes.
Really group of people.
Talented group of people. And I'm like you, I just kind of go in, Like it's me, but I'm also a chameleon. So I'll go in, and if I talk to somebody who has like energy like you and is, having fun, a little bit louder in the most respectful way. Like I was like, all right, I'm gonna match that energy. But I'm gonna match that energy because that's what I mean. Like I like all of my like closest friends are extroverts and louder, and so because I love that energy, I love to be around it. But if I'm talking to somebody who's a little bit quieter, I like mirror the people I talk to.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I call the people who I think I connected with the most, and that's why we're here.
Whoop, whoop.
All right. So before we get into like your impressive career, take us back in time and tell us when you first fell in love with sports.
Oh my gosh. Girl, I've been in sports since I can remember. And I can't even say I was in love with it because I didn't like getting dirty.
That tracks. That tracks.
Girl, yes. I'm like, I did not like getting dirty. I played softball and I probably was the cleanest softball player ever because I did not want, like, if I could avoid it at all costs, I would try my best to avoid it. But that's also a sport where I recognize my love for running, for track, which is always super, super fast. So my love for sports actually began pretty early on. Now, when I look back on it, I realized that there was some kind of love there for sports. I realized how much it gave me, how it allowed me to show up as a leader, but also the difficulty in having to be a follower too. Even if you do embody those leadership traits, there's something special and unique about knowing when to fall back and just follow, and giving people the ability to flex their leadership muscles too. So sports has been a recurring theme of my life for a very long time.
Say more about that. So sports allows you to show up as a leader, but then also know when to follow and sort of pull back. Like that is a skill. Like, did you get there?
Hard.
I don't want to say by accident, but do you know what I mean when I say that?
Like, I think I did.
Yeah. Like lessons learned. Like you were like, got that wrong this time. Let me go fix that. Is that how you got there?
It was hard because as a African-American woman, generally the way that we grow up, a lot of us already come with a personality that some people really can't handle, right? Just by our nature, we are considered characteristically strong or boisterous, have the ability to demand certain things that we may want. And so we get labeled as bossy, we talk too much, and all these other things, right? And so even as a little girl, I've always been loud. I would tell you how I feel about certain things. I was considered bossy. I'm the eldest of 4 kids too, so that probably didn't help anything. But coming into a group of other people where I could see, okay, well, maybe we should do this or maybe we should do that, or questioning certain maybe coaches or student coaches who would tell us to do certain things. And in my mind, it's like, well, why do we have to do that? So also a place of avocation, self-advocating, but also group advocating as well. But through time, it's always been a process of learning how to fall back. Not everything is meant for you to have to take control over, right? And then you have to think about the aggravation, if you will, or the anxiety of always having to be in a position of leadership. Some things are not meant for you to have to do. And even if we put that into the entrepreneur aspect of things, I run my own business. I don't want to have to be the one to do every single thing all the time, because then that means that I don't have time to be the CEO of my business. And so that means empowering other people too, to be in a position of leadership, to make decisions that maybe I need to fall back and see, is this thing going to work? Like, can it really work without me having to be always invested into, the nitty gritty of this? Because what does it give me back? It gives me back my time. It gives me back my sanity in many ways. It gives me back the ability to go and focus on the money generating activities. So as a child, we are not worrying about making money or making business, But we also have to think about what is the fallout from always having to be in that mindset of the do it all or to lead everything and to always have to make all of the decisions. That's not something that we always have to put on our shoulders. And I recognize that I did that by nature because of who I am. Like, it just came easy to me, but it's just not something I always had to do. And so I will say it's something throughout my life that I think I've been cultivating. I think that's the best word to use.
You have your own business, which is incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have a team. How do you delegate to your team? What's your approach?
Girl, it's so hard. And shout out to my newest team because we just passed our 30 days for our newest team onboarding. I was in a space too where I don't even know the word to describe it, but I was like really injured by former hires, people really not doing what I asked them to do. But then I had to recognize that a lot of that fault fell on me. So going back to the leadership qualities, I consider myself to be a leader, but I wasn't leading them in the way that they needed to be successful. So what does that look like for me now? Well, I changed everything because I had to realize or recognize that what I thought I had didn't even exist. I didn't have a proper, yes, girl. I mean, come on. And that's like, okay, so I'm going to be super vulnerable with you because being an attorney who supports business owners, who helps people recognize their business foundations, getting their operations into place that can also minimize exposure to liability for employment issues. Like, I did not have a robust operation system.
That was the miss, but you thought you had
thought I had that.
Okay.
I thought I had it and I didn't. But it took me investing into myself and my business by hiring and being a part of masterminds and having mentors who would just give me the real deal. Like, just give it to me. However it come out, I'm ready for it. Just let me have it. But once I was empowered to go back into my business and kind of look at some things, I'm like, well, I know I already got that and I got this and I got that. But when you compile everything, it was, okay, I got pieces, but I don't have a full operating system really, in my business. And that's costing me time and it's costing me a lot of money. So am I going to empower other people to come in and help me to sort this out? Or am I going to keep down this cycle of foolishness, that is not really helping me to catapult my business the way that I want it to be? And so having these individuals now, it's exciting. It is we're working out the kinks. But what I love is the people who are with me right now are illustrating not just their ability to do the job that I've empowered them to do and have trained them to do, but we all have a common goal of wanting to make this business profitable. And one of the things I had to change was the conversation around company culture, not just what my goals are, but what are your individual goals? And as a person who really loves people, love culture, love, inspiring folks to get whatever that next level looked like, to me, it was just, how did you not recognize that you needed to empower these people personally too? To be on your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, people need to know that they're not just working to help this company build all this money, but then they get thrown out with the bathwater.
Right.
So keeping their goals top of mind has been very important for me, and just finding different creative ways to incentivize them to make sure that we have a level of how things are going to progress. It's been rewarding for me. It's also been kind of scary too, because it's just a different way of operating, but it's working out so far.
So I love the rewarding, because what you reward gets repeated by others on your team. And it makes people feel good. You strike me as someone who holds people accountable as well.
Oh, I do. Girl, say no more. Yes, I absolutely do. And I think it helps them to see me the way that I work, but I had to let them know, listen, I don't expect you to come and be a carbon copy of me, because I'm a little crazy when it comes to work. Like, I work. I'm part of that anomaly of women, the very few who go and get it by any means necessary. So listen, I'm not telling you to ignore your family. I'm not telling you to sleep, to work around the clock. But what I do expect is that you have a certain amount of numbers that you work every week and you are getting tasks done, right? I give you a 24-hour window to respond to issues. Not that you got to be working 24 hours a day, because that's just unrealistic and you are going to burn out. I had to have this conversation with two of my assistants last week because one of them said, well, I feel like I have to respond to the emails and stay up and see what comes in. I said, no, 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 no. That is not healthy. It's not healthy for you, and it's not going to be healthy for me. So we have to make sure that you're setting a schedule that is conducive to you and your lifestyle, because that's important to me for you. And so once I was able to reiterate that fact, I don't know, no one's going to be over here working like a workhorse unless it's me. But I think it's motivated them so much because they do see how much I work, but we still have to put those measures in place so they're not overdoing it, and to the point that, well, now you're not going to work with me because you're exhausted.
Yes, right. So you up front, how you rebuilt it is you sat with your team and like, here are the expectations. Here's what I expect of you. Some of that is don't mirror me. Yes, work hard, but you have 24 hours to respond to this. You have, a couple of days to do that. Like you have put everything out on the line for them to clearly understand. And then there's no question. That's going to feel good. And because the person you just said who was like, well, I feel like I'm supposed to email you. No,
you don't. Just because I send it. Right. Because part of me is knowing that I have so much happening. I have to send this to you because I'm going to forget. So let me just send it and then you deal with that. But another thing that I made sure I implemented it during this process was my company values. I had failed in really communicating that. And some people, I mean, we're all working virtually. So some people think they can hide the ball and try to do certain things and get paid for it. And I wouldn't notice. Oh, I know, because I've been doing your job for too long. So I know how much it costs or how much time it costs, to do a particular task. And so implementing the value and how that builds our company culture, caring about each other, building a collaborative environment, although we're still away from each other, being collaborative, not competitive, is important to move, the goals forward. But of course, if you're helping this company to build its revenue, the profit margin, I want to also have a place to reward you on that. And the way that I can do that is look at how you are performing based on the particular KPIs that we've already set in place. Right. So whenever you come to the table, we're operating in excellence. We're going to have honesty and integrity, and we're going to value each other's culture. It's just, it is what it is. Like there's no question about it. And if you can't do that, then we can't work together.
I love it. I love that you put it all out there before you even start.
Yep.
I'm sure you talk about it in the interview process. Like,
this
is what you're getting yourself into, right? You don't feel like this is a fit. That is okay.
Exactly.
It is not for everybody. Like, that is okay.
It's not. And it's fine, because that helped me to weed out a lot of people too, who I felt like just didn't fit what I'm looking for.
So I'm reading your bio and I see that you're a first generation lawyer and business owner. Like, weird. Is that something you always knew that you wanted to do when you were like a young kid?
Yes. So I will clarify, I'm not a first generation business owner because I do come from a family of women, a lot, actually some men too, who have their own businesses and have thrived. But I am the only person in my family who before was a first generation a lawyer, but definitely the only one with the law business. Now I have a second
law business.
Yep. Yeah. Now I have a cousin who's a lawyer. So she's like second in line, the second lawyer now in the family. But I've always wanted to be a lawyer ever since I was either 4 or 5. I say 4. My mom says 5. So I'm like, whatever. I'm going to say 4. Right. But
it makes for a better story. Of course, you're going to say 4.
It makes for a complete, like, how does this baby know they want to be a lawyer? I mean, even at 5, that's still super young, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wrote an article about this too, because I'm very spiritually conscious. And I always feel like as children, we are at the most purest state, where I do believe that God implants a particular dream or gift inside of us. And so wanting to be a lawyer, not even knowing what that meant and how that was going to come to fruition, it was something to just always burn on the inside of me, regardless of other gifts that I have, other dreams that I wanted to achieve. It was just always there as like a beacon of this is what you're going to do. And so I will tell people being a lawyer is my superpower. And now coming and finding a way where I've pivoted throughout my career, it's been very apparent that even as the bossy little girl from Florida, being someone who always wanted to protect other people, being the protector is the way that my law degree has been working for me.
Tell us how this all ties into the sports world. Tell everybody like what you do. And I know you know, it's your own business, but give everyone a peek behind the curtain, if you will.
Ew, can I do my one-liner? Hi, everybody. I'm Sivonnia DeBarros.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Also known as the protector of athletes. Okay, so guys, for real. So I own a firm called the S.L. DeBarros Law Firm. And I am, in fact, an attorney to million-dollar brands that also includes athletes in business. I say athletes in business because I don't just want to work with any athlete. I want to work with an athlete who know that they have a business currently, or they have a business idea, and they are wanting to create multi-generational wealth. I always tell people or have said to people that I represent and have talked to individuals who have million-dollar brands that don't even know they have million-dollar brands. It's a mindset. A lot of us sitting out there sitting on money and don't even know because we can't cash it in, right? It's really a mindset about how we value certain things. But how did protector of athletes come about? How did protecting come about? By nature, as the eldest of four, I've always been in that position of protecting my siblings. In fact, I lost my fifth grade patrol belt for protecting my little brother.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. I've lost a lot of things for protecting other people.
Yeah, all of that tracks.
all of it. And I will still stand by that decision to this day because I know in my heart that I was right and I was doing the right thing. So whatever that cost me, I feel like wherever history takes us, I can stand on the right side of history with that. But how this came into sports, I didn't even know that I wanted to be a sports attorney because I didn't know that existed. All I had ever wanted to be once I was old enough to understand being a lawyer, and justice and all of that was I thought I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney. I'm seeing all of my people get arrested. The community is getting arrested. People can't take care of their family. I actually saw one of my cousins literally ran down, beat by an officer. I will never forget that moment because I think I was about 12. It really, I wrote about it in my book, What Are You Sporting About? It did something to me. And it seemed like almost every year it would just reignite the notion of wanting to be an attorney because I knew that if I became an attorney, I can help people in some way. And so being a criminal attorney was being in the process of being able to advocate for those people to hopefully get them off. It wasn't until later in life, probably before I went to law school or while I was in law school, I'm like, okay, I need to become a prosecutor because now shifting the mindset around that, the best way I can help my people is to be in a position of power to decide what cases I want to try, And so that's one of the reasons why I came to Chicago. I wanted to clerk for the state attorney's office, which I did, stayed there for about a good year. Then I went over to the attorney general's office, worked in the General Law Bureau and litigated constitutional claims against prisoners, prisoner rights claims. And so got some experience there. Things did not work out the way I thought. I thought I was going to get hired on with the state attorney's office, but this is another area where God always has the last say. Sometimes you just have to go. I want to say kind of like with the flow, but sometimes you just have to trust. You have to really just trust that things are going to, that it's going to work out for your good. And I was devastated when I didn't get an offer with the state attorney's office. I'm like, I've been sitting here working at this place for a whole year, but I took the bar in 2013, passed the same year, applied for jobs, couldn't get hired. And I just made a commitment to myself that if I did not get an offer, I was going to create my own firm. One, I had to reignite the fact that I am worthy. I'm good enough. And I don't need someone to tell me that I'm good enough to work with them. I have everything I need to be successful. Granted, it wasn't easy. Here I am. I've just celebrated my 9th year.
Yes,
Thank you,
congratulations.
girl. It was years, well, not really years later. 2014, I saw 30 for 30 Gone Broke. And that ignited something in me. I was already supporting clients at that point, but it dawned on me, oh my gosh, these athletes really, really need some help. They need somebody on their team that's going to tell them the real deal and show them how they're getting themselves in hot water and how they can possibly avoid all of this mess. I feel like people just was like, okay, whatever. Don't really listen to me, And so I went back into my little bubble. I was like, oh, well, maybe I need to work a few more years or whatever. So by the time I got pregnant with my kid in 2017, all of that reignited again. And without having one athlete client, I just started moving my biz or shifting my business in a way to support them. And in 2019, I wrote my first book for athletes. What are you sporting about? And it was through that courage, because I was nervous, as you know what. I was so nervous. I mean, to the point that my stomach would churn and no one was in the room with me. It was crazy.
I have been there.
Girl.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
I'm like, what? That's the cover right there. I'm like, what are you nervous about? The book is not even done yet. You're worried about what people are going to say. And so I just really, really had to pray over it, because I knew I was coming from a place of protection and support and wanted to encourage my people and wanted to motivate them that you can do all of the things that you wanted to do, but how do we get off track, right? We got to get back within alignment so you can do what you were destined to do. So that book launched in 2020 and launched my podcast, What Are You Sporting About, pretty much right after that. Didn't even know I was going to launch a podcast. And then that name just grew, Protector of Athletes.
Some of the toughest conversations we have are the ones that we have with ourselves. We can convince ourselves to believe stories that we don't even know are true. What's crazy is we allow that story to take a toll on our confidence. Have you been there before? I know that I have. We get in our heads. We beat ourselves up. Here's some tough love. Nobody's got time for that. We are high achieving women who have big career goals. We don't have time to get in our own way. And I am here to support you with my new one-on-one coaching program, Step Into Your Power and Own Your Career. My clients have told me that when we work together, I've helped them get out of their own way, regain their confidence, learn how to manage their emotion and mindset. They've told me that they've been able to get their voice back and use it with confidence. The most important thing, they told me that we've identified the obstacle that was getting in their way. If you want to learn more about this program, scroll down in the show notes, click on the link that says Step Into Your Power and Own Your Career. You can set up time to chat with me and we can figure out if this is the right program for what you need. All right, let's get back to the episode. Tell me this. What I'm hearing you say is, and by the way, everybody, if you want to learn more about the book and the podcast, I'm linking to those in the show notes. But tell me this. It sounds like to me, if I'm hearing it correctly, your fear that you had that was grumbling in your stomach, nice and loud for nobody to hear because you were by yourself. So that fear was almost trumped in a way by your desire to help people. Did I get that right?
Oh, that's good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So you found that was like your hope that kept you moving, that allowed you to, I always say, everyone always talks about fearless. And I'm like, I think
but you're not really fearless.
People feel the fear and they do it anyway. And that's what I'm hearing you did. And the way you found the courage to do that was because you're like, I have something to offer. I can help athletes.
And I'll tell you, so in 2019, unbeknownst that there was going to be a global pandemic, I created a mantra for myself as no fear. So even though I would feel those emotions, I would just say no fear. And it was almost kind of like this psychological, motivational, girl, get your stuff done. And so I would just keep chanting those words over and over and over. No fear, no fear, no fear. It didn't mean that I wasn't scared about it. It just meant that I wasn't going to allow anything to stop me even if it's just me. Like, I'm not going to even let me stop me, because at that point, I'm thinking in my mind and on a spiritual level of, would it bother me this much if it wasn't, if it wasn't going to be dope?
Yeah.
So, right. So there must be something that I have to get out to the world.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel like there has to be a message here that must need to get out. Everything in me was just like, whew, that fight or flight, how people talk about. But yeah, I made a conscious decision to take action, regardless of how scary it was going to be or that I thought it would be. And every day I'm making decisions that are scary as hell. But at the end of the day, you are not going to know what the outcome would be if you don't make an action, if you don't take action, period. I'm to a place in my life where I'm not willing to wake up with regret. And so regardless of whether it scares me, it makes me nervous, or I have anxiety, whatever, any of those adjectives that you want to apply to it, for me, the cost of regret is too great for me not to make a move.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I talk about it all the time, that regret is so much worse than the rejection. Regret is so much worse than the failure, because when you fail, it's almost like you're like, oh, all right. Well,
that wasn't that bad.
That wasn't that. Okay, I know what I'll do. You learn something. I know what I'll do next time.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, this isn't for me. Like, there's a whole host of things you can learn.
Right.
But regret, you don't learn from regret. You become bitter.
Right.
No one wants to be around a bitter person.
Right.
You start,
and you never learn from your own failures. Right. You can reject me, but if I take that in good stride and say, okay, what else can I do? Or who else can I go and talk to, or whatever? You start learning things about yourself. You either learn, did I come at this person the wrong way? Do I need to change how I approach people? Two, you start to learn, do you exhibit certain confidence traits that you could work on? You start to build more resilience to the rejection itself. You find ways to overcome that quicker. So now when you're overcoming that quicker, you can get back into the game a lot faster and get to the results.
Yeah.
As one of my mentors say, get to that money. We all trying to get to the money. You can't get to the money if you stuck on rejection.
Yes, exactly. So you just got to go. And it's okay if you have been there and you are stuck and you're listening to it. It's like, I'm stuck right now. It's all right. Just take like the next step. Just keep going.
And sometimes the next step is knowing, okay, maybe I don't have a plan, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to create a plan. And when I start feeling like something's working, I'm going to actively tweak it to make sure I have a real roadmap to help me achieve what it is that I'm trying to achieve. Like, people got to stop just getting stuck and saying, oh, well, that didn't work, so there's nothing else for me to do. There is something else for you to do.
Yeah. You just got to keep trying. As long as if you can put food on your table and you can pay your bills, girl, you're doing all right, then
that's half of the battle.
Absolutely. So, all right. So now you come in, protector of athletes. Do you primarily work with women or men, or both?
Both. But most of my clients are women.
Okay.
There's something to be said about that. Women take action a lot faster than men. But yeah, I work with all of them. So it doesn't matter whether you're a woman, an athlete, former athlete, don't have athletic status background at all. My goal is to work with people who have a business or creating a business, first generation business owners, with the mindset and the idea that you do want to create, and you are creating a legacy for your great grandchildren, right? Yes. Because we can create wealth now, but if we don't create it in a way where our kids will understand and be able to steward what it is that we leave, or even have those assets available and safeguarded for them to even tap into, then that legacy dies out. I know people don't really think about legacy in the sense of when they're building their business or they're creating new brands, taking different things to the marketplace, but essentially you are. And it's way too many of us that are continuously going on to glory or ending up in incapacitated states without having a well thought out plan of what will happen to our assets.
I love that. That's so smart. Now, I'm listening to you talk, and I'm also looking in the background. You guys are listening now, you can't see it, but looking in the background, and the cover of your book, you're holding a basketball and a football. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In a fabulous yellow dress.
Girl,
So
that dress is fire. I still got that dress. I'm like, I need to wear this dress somewhere.
oh, that's so funny. We need to have an event. Now, typically, right, those roles, men are
Yes.
usually holding the balls. I'm going to say that without laughing, but you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, they're in those pictures. It's a
That's
male
funny.
dominated industry. What has been your experience? Because I think we all got a sense of where your confidence comes from and how you keep it going. Like we
Mm-hmm.
all know you're confident and
And
we
that
know how
confidence
you,
is a ever evolving thing for
yes,
me. Yeah.
yes, yeah. And I feel like we all understand how you work on it and how
Mm-hmm.
you keep yourself going and hopeful. But was there, I guess, what advice would you give women who are hearing, oh, it's a male dominated industry? It's going to be tough for you. Sometimes when people give that advice, it almost makes me angry. Because I'm like, no,
Yeah,
no,
I
don't
know.
cloud them with that. Like, just you go
Yeah.
do you and get in there. And it's
Yeah.
business and it's hard, right? Like,
Yeah.
so what advice would you give women who are
Ooh.
entering this field or who are in it now, trying to make that jump from middle management to executive?
Yeah. Feel the fire of what you bring. There's something to be said about the superpower that lives on the inside of all of us, right? We have our own innate gifts that we bring to the table. And so when your gift is put on the table, it doesn't matter who else is in the room. It doesn't matter what gender they are. It doesn't matter what religion they are. It doesn't matter what country they come from. All that matters is what do you do that can make your industry better? What can you offer that has not been offered in the way that you can provide it? And so, me moving into the sports industry, and it's weird because I always tell people now I'm like one of the thought leaders in name, image, and likeness. I wrote a book before NIL was even a thing. But that's me knowing that this is something I'm passionate about. This is how I want to help. This is how I want to serve. It all came from what do Sivonnia do? What can I do to support this new demographic of entrepreneurs? Right. And so it wasn't, oh, how many male agents are already out there? How many male lawyers are already out? I still do what I do. I serve through the law. That's my love language. That's how I serve people is with the law. And so I can look at it as being another female entering a male dominated industry. But guess what? So is the legal industry is white male dominated, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But who said that we can't have more Black women as lawyers because it's male dominated? And so we have to stop listening to those societal ideas that there's no more room for us. Because as long as you have the ability, the skill, the fire within you to show up in a space, you belong in that space. It doesn't matter who else was already there first.
Yes.
So that's my advice to that.
Amen. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to mess it up. Let's just end on that note. That was good. Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
Ooh, I'm going to try to be quick because lawyers like to talk, Joe.
All right, let's see how you do. First thing that comes to mind. What is your favorite sports moment?
Ooh, sports moment. Oh, I'll tell you. Okay, so recently with the Olympics, the co-ed, was it a 4x4? That was really interesting to me. I don't know if it was a 4x1 or 4x4 but they had both men and women
Track.
racing.
There we are.
Track,
My brain was somewhere. I was like,
yep, track and field.
I need some more coffee. All right, good. Yes, good one. What is something? Not that I'm sitting here grading your answers, like good one.
No, it's okay. It's just interesting.
But yes, I agree with you. That is a good one. All right, what is something people always get wrong about you?
That I'm rich. One day I will be, but things always look gravier on the outside. Yeah, like y'all keep speaking that into my life. Thank you.
Yes, I was gonna say. Yeah, okay, that's right. A good one. Because one day they will not be wrong.
Okay.
Right. What is one food you wouldn't want to give up?
Crabs.
All right.
Blue crabs, to be specific. Oh, I love me some blue crabs.
Noted. Are you a morning or night person?
Neither, really. I just make myself get up. I'm really not. I'm too tired to get up in the morning, and then I'm too sleepy to do anything at night. So I fall like right in the middle of the day, but I make myself get up in the morning.
All right. What time do
Yeah.
you get up?
Well,
Oh boy.
that depends. For the most part, I try to get up at 5:30, especially if I have team meetings. I know, girl, it be burning a hole in my soul every time.
Ooh,
But that is
you got to
the
do it.
only way I can get up, get things done, so I can really focus on the legal work during,
Mhm.
the busier parts of the day.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas. I would say Christmas is
Ooh.
my favorite holiday.
Are you a dog or
Yeah.
cat person?
Dog. I just put my baby to sleep today too.
Oh,
So
so
shout out to
sorry.
Coco. I miss her so much already. Yeah, she would have been 16 next March.
What kind of dog was Coco?
She was a peekapoo. So it's like a little
Oh,
Pekingese toy poodle, but her hair was kind of curly, but a little more straight. Yeah.
I'm
She was
so
so cute.
sorry.
Thank you, my little
Uh,
baby.
what product would you stockpile if you found out they weren't going to sell it anymore?
Probably my degree deodorant.
Oh, y'all couldn't see my face. I just put my head down. That is a first.
Girl, listen, I am not trying to be stink round people. Okay. And that's like the only thing. Fun
All right.
fact, like that's the only thing that
you,
works for me. Because my metabolism is so fast. Like it doesn't matter where I go, I sweat.
same.
So I am not trying to be funky. I'm like, oh, I don't want to hire that stink lawyer.
She's smart, but she smells.
She smells.
All right,
exactly.
smart.
That's
Degree
not a good look.
Degree should sponsor you for something. I lost my train of thought because that threw me off. Oh, what
That's
is
a
your
good
favorite? What is your favorite app?
Amazon.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Amazon.
I'm saying like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like, it's just bad. I think I'm gonna need like a January. People do dry January. I think I'm gonna do like dry January, but for Amazon.
Girl. Like
That's what I'm doing.
Shein is a next quick second, that new Asian store.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Girl, I can't even get rid of enough clothes. I'm like, how did I end up buying this much stuff?
Nope. Nope. Don't want to do it.
It's
Never shop
bad.
in there because it'll be bad. Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram.
Instagram, I guess.
Who's the biggest inspiration in your life?
In my life, my grandmother. She's passed on now.
And I think I know the answer to this question. As a child, what did you want to become when you grew up?
Oh, yep. You know the answer. What's the answer?
Lawyer.
Yep. A myriad of other things, but that is definitely the one. Yeah.
All right. Last question. Finish this sentence. The future of women working in sports is?
The future of women working in sports has already begun because we here.
Yeah.
We are definitely here.
Yes, we are. This has been incredible. Thank you for spending some time with us. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they go about doing that?
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. So you can go to Instagram. You can follow me at SL DeBarros Law. You can also find me there on at the same handle on LinkedIn as well. Or you can visit my website at sldebarros.com.
And then real quick, your book and your podcast tell everybody what that's about.
Yes. So I have 2 books out. Actually, more than that, I always forget about the kids' books. So What Are You Sporting About is really for the current and former professional athlete, helping them to understand what their dreams and goals are and get back to being the dreamer so they can live a life that was meant for them and not others. Athletes Making Moves is the newest release, all about name, image, and likeness, helping student athletes to understand what that is legally, how they can enforce their intellectual property rights, leverage and monetize it, but also sharing other legal aspects of building a brand with them. And then I also have the children's book series, which is JoJo's Legal Adventures. 2 books a part of that series so far called JoJo Learns About Credibility, JoJo Learns About Voting. Those books are about introducing legal concepts to children in a context they can understand, because I truly believe our children should be empowered and not afraid when they enter situations that involve legal issues.
Yeah.
So this is a way to kind of get them, an introduction to it without it being so frightening. By the time they approach a legal matter, they're like, oh, I know what this is.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's not foreign to them. Ooh, I like that. I have nieces and nephews, so I think that book would be perfect for them.
Yes.
And I'll put those in the show notes.
Sounds good.
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you so much for spending time with me.
You're welcome.
So what did you think of this episode? Do you know another woman who works or is aspiring to work in sports? Would you do me a favor and share this with them? It would mean so much if together we could support and inspire other women on their journey. And let's stay connected. I love meeting and talking to new people. Follow me on Instagram at Jahaan Blake and join the free Game of Her Own community by visiting jahaanblake.com. I can't wait to meet you.